Hello, everyone. I'm Julie Hale, and I'm thrilled to be here with you today. I'm the Senior Director of Business Development at Trail Appliances, where I've had the pleasure to work with them for over 10 years. I've had a long and rewarding career with 10 years at Miele and another decade in the retail and lifestyle sector. In my masterclass, I'm going to talk to you about the latest and greatest in appliance design and technology, tips to consider when planning your kitchen, the importance of collaborating with the best partners, designers, builders, and of course, us at Trail Appliances, and key installation considerations you should consider. We want to make this process as easy and effortless for you, whether it's a single replacement appliance, a small renovation, or a whole home new build. So at the end of the day, when you're done and you're sitting there with a glass of wine, the outcome is exactly what you hoped it would be. At Trail Appliances, my role is all about growth and innovation. I have a great gig. I work with our ownership and senior leadership team to expand our business and boost sales. Some of the areas I oversee is the annual renovation of 20 kitchen displays across our 12 locations. I oversee the design on any of our major tenant improvements or new store builds. I guide our designer sales team, and I spearhead our initiatives for learning and development for our organization. On a personal note, my passions are family, food, of course, wine, and design. For people that are shopping now for appliances, there's so many more things available to you for your kitchen. And the kitchen is one of the hardest working spaces in your home. I know for me, it can be my office. It can be the homework space for my daughter. It's a place where we gather and gossip with our friends and family and enjoy some delicious dinners. Now you can get so many more features at a much more accessible price point. There used to be times where you could only get that in our luxury brands. So whether you're a top chef producing an amazing meal or somebody who is kitchen phobic, there's definitely something that's going to assist you in getting more time and actually getting that meal right each and every time. If you're wondering about kitchen phobic, you have that friend, the one that doesn't really want to host because they're maybe intimidated about cooking for everybody, somebody you know that orders everything in. There's so many more options now that are going to allow that person to be so successful and confident in the kitchen. So this past April, I was fortunate to go to Milan, where the Salone Fair takes place. This is the benchmark for all furnishings and decor, which includes kitchen and appliances. And I can tell you, I put on more steps than I ever thought I would, exploring, I think, 12 of the 14 pavilions. In terms of, technology and what's coming, AI and smart technology was definitely a buzz across the fair. And for a lot of you, you probably already know about things like apps on your phone, or your hood fan will recognize when your cooktop turns on. So that it already starts to get the smells out of your kitchen. But there's so many more things that are coming, and I can't imagine what we're going to see in, the next 3 to 4 years. One of the manufacturers featured a camera inside their oven. And you ask, what do I need a camera inside my oven for? Well, this camera, what it does is it can actually detect the food that you put in the oven. So for instance, if you put a pie in, it will tell you when it's browned. If you put the lasagna in, it will tell you when it's done. This is a game changer. I can't tell you how many pizzas I've put in the oven myself and accidentally burned them. This would be a whole new thing, I know, for my household. The other thing that it does that I thought was really exciting is while that pie is cooking or that lasagna is cooking, it films it the whole time. And then you can send and download a 5-second replay of it to your phone and share it. For me personally, to capture my mom's Yorkshire puddings and see them puff up in the size that she loves to brag to all of her friends and family about and have that as a family heirloom to keep, that would be amazing. On the design side of things, over the past 5 years, we've really been seeing a lot of kitchens with millwork panels installed on appliances. or, the typical stainless steel. Down in Milan, what we were seeing were some really interesting materials being used that added a lot of depth and character to the kitchens. For instance, some manufacturers are using leather in different hues. Can you imagine that in your wine room, in your cellar, pulling open this beautiful wine fridge? Maybe you have a cigar room as well. Or another thing that I think from both a texture durability standpoint, which is amazing, is the use of lighter stones on the front of both millwork and appliances. Now you get so many hues and colors to pick from that add depth and color, but also the durability. In my house, my hood fan is millwork, which means when I cook, I have to remember to wipe down that millwork very gently. Otherwise, over time, debris and grease are there. Or my cabinets. My husband, my daughter, they may not wipe their hands after cutting or slicing that avocado, which leaves oil on the millwork. And over time, that causes the millwork to fade, discolor. If it was stone, it's almost impervious. I can scrub it, I can clean it. It's going to look beautiful forever. So I think that's going to be really exciting when we see more of that come to Canada and the Lower Mainland. Another really cool thing that was everywhere in Salone was any deep, dark hue that an appliance manufacturer could put on an appliance, from graphite to black, midnight, with texture or without texture. That's going to be the new stainless that's going to start appearing in all of your kitchens. What's happening with some of the trends is that whether it's the dark hues of appliances or the solid front stone, is that we're just seeing a little bit of it now. So there's manufacturers already starting with it, and so it's coming. The cool thing about AI and smart technology, which is already there, is we have those apps. But more and more, for instance, like the auto cook feature I talked about, where the camera is seeing the pie in the oven, they're going to keep adding more recipes to it, and you'll be able to download the latest and greatest from that app or from that oven. Same with your washer. So maybe you buy laundry today, and in a year from now, some new wash modes come out that are going to better clean for dog or cat hair, that are going to have found to clean better for your athletic wear. You'll actually be able to download those settings without actually having to buy an appliance. That's amazing, because now you get the latest and greatest features with the same machine. For us at Trail, it's really important that we work with clients to really make their lives better. And one of the things that we try to do when working with customers, whether that's a developer, an end consumer, a designer, or a builder, is really find out what's the purpose of this project, this renovation, this new home build. And so it might get a little intimate. We're going to ask a lot of questions, but we really want to find out what's the use of the space? What's the use of the home? Are you flipping this? Where is it in the city? If you are, because we know maybe what else is in there and how we might work with you to get this house sold faster. Is it your forever home? Are you vegetarians? You can see I'm getting right in there and asking all the questions. And this is what our team does, so that when we learn this information, we can really figure out what's going to be the best brands and features for you. 30 years ago, there was a handful of brands. Now there's 50 plus brands, and each of them has, I don't know, hundreds of SKUs. And so, we're the experts, and we really want to dive into what your family needs or what your project needs to find the right match. One of the things that's always a challenge when we're working with clients is even if you have an 8,000 square foot house or a 400 square foot apartment, everybody wants more space. I know I want more space. I still don't have that walk-in closet that I dream about that Sarah Jessica Parker has as Carrie in Sex and the City. But one day, I'm hoping it'll happen. But in terms of space and design, there's a lot of options out there now for customers. Something really cool that's happened probably in the last 5 years is that appliances have become Swiss Army knives. They can do way more things than they did before. What do I mean by that? So in the past, you would maybe buy a steam oven. you would maybe buy a microwave. You would have a air fryer. Nowadays, you can get almost all of these features in one appliance. And what does that mean for space design? It means I have maybe another cupboard to put all those cereals or all those spices or all those cleaning supplies. And instead, that one appliance is doing double duty. This is true also for laundry. Laundry, again, 10 years ago, we really only had the European brands building what we call all-in-one washers and dryers. This is where a washer and a dryer will do all of the things. So you put your clothes in, it washes, it'll then directly go into drying. The challenge back then, or now with some of those units, is that they were much smaller. And so really, to get your clothes washed and dried properly, you had to take out half of the clothes before it went into the dry mode. Otherwise, they would never really dry and they would be very wrinkly and compact. Today, brands like Samsung and LG have brought out full-size all-in-one machines. These machines also don't need venting, which means that if I did have that big, beautiful wardrobe, I could install one of these machines in that, easily throw my dirty clothes in it, and wash and dry it all in one thing. So it negates me from having to take out half the laundry because it has this super size. I can put it in a lot of different places in my house because I don't require venting. And I have another 27 inches by 36 inches high now available to put anything else I want because I've got just one footprint. Or some consumers, what they're doing in busy homes or multi-generational, they're buying two all-in-one machines. My house is multi-generational, and my mom and I have a schedule of who gets the laundry when. If we had two machines, it wouldn't matter. They'd have theirs and I'd have ours, and it would all sit in the same footprint. So whether you're a do-it-yourselfer, builder, or you're working with a designer, the key things to remember is really understand what your lifestyle and needs are, what your plan for the home or the apartment is, and then align yourself with experts like us at Trial Appliances that can help guide you through so many different choices so that you get the best fit for your home or project. So like I mentioned before in the last chapter, understanding your lifestyle and needs is important. But as you go to plan your kitchen, what's important is to think about starting with your kitchen. The kitchen tends to be the most highest dollar per square footage if you are doing a renovation or a new build. So you really want to be thoughtful about the decisions that you make. Some of the nuances that we can really help with is whether, again, it's yourself or you're working with a designer, is whatever your design intent is, it takes very significant precision and detail to turn that into the real state, the execution of that design. So it's going to be what you hoped it was going to turn out to when you're sitting at the counter with a glass of wine. And that's where we come in. Again, there's so many options, and each appliance manufacturer, not just the features, but how they install and how they're going to perform in your house is very specific. And while all of these manufacturers have specifications and you yourself could read it online, our teams experience these details day in and day out. I know I do as I renovate our 20 kitchens across our 12 locations annually. And these nuances sometimes aren't written down. So when you think about things like, I'm going to pick this fridge and this is the design that I've laid out, or this is the design that the designer has put in, and the door opens up a certain way, we're going to look at it and see, is the door opening up enough so that you can also pull the crisper out fully? And sometimes it's surprising that this kind of level of detail wasn't looked at, and you get in your kitchen and you're struggling to get the door open without it banging into the wall and to get all those fruit and vegetables out from the back. Other things that are very popular is to have a very clean and contemporary kitchen with countertops that are flush with the front of appliances. And so again, the precision that it takes to have that detail, to remember to include the depth of the backsplash plus the depth of the appliance and potentially that little nubby screw head that's at the back of the appliances that wasn't included on the spec. So at the end of the day, you get this super flush, beautiful look of your millwork, stone, and appliances all in one beautiful view. So some of the additional tips when you're looking at doing those flush installations are, like I said, you've got the stone and you've got the depth of the appliance. Stones come in different thicknesses. Tiles come in different thicknesses. Is it 2 centimeters? Is it 3 centimeters? And then, don't forget the glue or the paste that they put on the wall. Trying to get that flush look. You're working with like a 1/16 and 1/8 of an inch. We just had a display that we finished in our Vancouver location where there were 5 different ranges that all had to be flush with the millwork and the stone. And I tell you, when myself and our project coordinator completed it and it was done, we were like, oh my goodness, we were so ecstatic that we were able to, down to the millimeter, have everything look so beautiful. So make sure that you get some of the experts like ourselves to help you to do the math so you end up with that same aha moment in your kitchen. One of the things that we often see is appliances that might not fit because of measuring. The funniest one, it's kind of a dance in the showroom. We all see it and know what it is, but it's like, what size is your fridge? So when you are coming into our showroom, our team's going to ask you, and you'll say, it's 18 cubic feet. Oh, it's about 70 inches. Fridges need to have very specific, exact measurements, and they also need a certain amount of breathing space. So our team is going to ask you, how wide is it? How wide is the opening? Not your fridge. How wide is the opening from left to right? And how tall is the opening from the floor to the very underneath of the cabinet that it would hit? If we have those dimensions, then your whole world opens up to a whole array of possibilities, and your trip coming into the store will be very fruitful because we're not sending you home with homework to remeasure. So when you are coming in, make sure when you are measuring things, whether it's your fridge or a wall of an opening, it's always the full width of the opening and the full height of the opening. It doesn't matter how big the appliance itself is. So some of the other areas that are important to consider, again, that our teams are well versed in, is the installation considerations that you should keep in mind. So, for example, many people are buying column refrigeration, so an all fridge or an all freezer or a beautiful big French door fridge, and then they have lovely millwork toe kicks. And in some cases, these millwork toe kicks get nailed in to the whole base of the cabinetry. It's really important, actually, that those are removable for a couple reasons. One, if your fridge ever needs service, you certainly don't want to have to destroy your kitchen to get it out. And two, some of the appliance brands actually want you to vacuum the bottom of the fridge, vacuum the compressor so that you get the dust bunnies out so it breathes really beautifully for its lifetime and you don't experience a service call. Another thing that you want to consider when you are planning and then eventually installing an appliance, specifically a wall oven, is the right height. I'm little. I'm only 5'1", and so, my oven can't be 69 inches from the floor to the top of the oven. Ideally, when you are looking at the height, the top of your oven or your coffee maker or any appliance that's in the wall should be no more than 60 to 65 inches off the ground. That's going to work for somebody petite like me or my colleague who's 6 feet tall. So one of the tips for planning that we always take into consideration when we're doing one of the kitchens in the showroom is we do a lot of hosting activities, which I also do at my house, and I'm sure you might too. So when you're sitting down yourself or with a designer, how are you planning out the layout of those kitchens? I know something that we specifically pay great detail with is where we might put some of the lifestyle appliances that aren't used every day and aren't in the high traffic areas, that are outside of those high traffic areas, so I can still access them at a party or my party goers can still access them. So what do I mean by that? So for instance, if I was putting in an under-counter wine or beverage unit, I might position it at the end of the island or the opposite side of the island where people might sit. not directly in front of me where I would be cooking or on a side that's going to have a lot of heavy traffic. I want my guests to be able to open up the next bottle when I'm cooking while I'm slicing and dicing. So something to consider. Again, maybe putting your coffee machine in, again, a separate coffee bar area. Again, not in kind of that very busy triangle that would include your sink, your range, and your fridge. So those other appliances, think about another area where people can essentially self-serve, or the kids or whomever can kind of be out of the way, getting things out for themselves and not disrupting that really heavy workhorse of a space. So another planning consideration to take sounds like an obvious one, but the functionality, it often sometimes gets missed because we're so interested in the design. I mean, the design is such a fun part. The colors, the materials, the vision of how it's going to look, but really also making sure that you shortlist what's important to you from a functionality standpoint. So in some households, cleanability and having everything look kind of meticulous is important. That would be my mother. So in her kitchen, we've gone with, an electric induction range because it doesn't matter how much she uses it, it always is going to look beautiful. Versus if we had gone with a gas range, they're great. However, they do develop a patina. The grates are going to age and discolor. The top is going to get dirty even if you clean it every day. And that aesthetic is just simply not going to work for her. Another option you might consider in some homes is to have a second kitchen. Some people call it a spice kitchen, where all of the work is done behind the scenes, and so the front kitchen stays pristine. Another thing that you might want to consider as well is where are all those forks and knives and cutlery and ladles going? I know, again, it seems like an obvious point, but in going through designs of many kitchens, often there just isn't enough drawer space for all the tools that we have. So making sure that you keep that in mind. And then again, heights. Is that upper cabinet, has it been designed at just the right height so that myself at 5'1" can reach it? Is it going to be too high for me? Is there space between the counter and the top of the cabinet that has been left for the hood fan or the microwave? Is it also going to be enough space for your faucet? So just a few of those functional things to note down so that you're reviewing them or you're reviewing them with your team, your designer, your builder is important. So it's going to look beautiful and it's going to function great for you and your family. Another thing that we can certainly help you with is when you are in those final stages and you're working through with your millworker. And if you can send us your millwork drawings or have somebody that can look at those millwork drawings and really identify where the electrical and plumbing or gas is going to go, because the appliance manufacturer does have specifications, but we also want to make sure you get the best use out of your cupboards and your storage space, as well as that they're in spots that's not going to impede the appliance from pushing all the way in and giving you that flush look. When you're thinking about planning an installation, again, it's about precision. It's about taking all of that design intent that you have in mind or your designer's done and executing it. So make sure you connect with a professional, somebody like ourselves at Trail Appliances, so we can make sure all those nuances are captured, whether it's where the electrical goes or how deep the depth needs to be to get that flush range, or make sure your door of your fridge opens up all the way so that you're really satisfied with the end product. I think one of the things that has worked best for me in terms of renovating so many kitchens, I think I've done, I don't know at this point, over 200, is the collaboration I have with others on the project that help me, because I'm certainly no expert in all things. And so as a homeowner, really finding the right people to work with, people that are going to make this experience easy for you, is something that is really important. I always say, like, renovating and building a new home is like having a child. You're really excited at the beginning. You kind of get to the middle and end and you're starting to getting pooped. The budget's getting strained. And then finally you're sitting in your kitchen and you're seeing it all, your home, and you're seeing it all finally done. And that's the same excitement that you might have, when you see that newborn. But certainly getting to that finish line is all about setting yourselves up with the right partners. I'd really encourage you to, figure out who is it that you think that you're going to work with best in terms of what is your style, what is their style. Having open communication with, if you are using them, a designer, a builder, the mill worker, and an architect, and making sure that they're all working in uniform together with you has been really the projects that have been the most fun, the most stress-free, and the ones that have turned out, the most extraordinary. When working on projects, you might think, oh my goodness, do I need a designer? But again, I work with a lot of designers, and I can tell you, even if you're renovating a small office, a pantry, a laundry room, a kitchen, or your whole home, they're really amazing at figuring out solutions. When we renovate in our showrooms, we work with different designers, and we give them a laundry list of appliances to maybe fit into a 12 by 12 kitchen, like 40 appliances that need to fit into a 12 by 12 kitchen. And the mission, if they choose to accept it, is to create a very inspirational kitchen for our homeowners, something that shows different applications so you can see different things that you would might want in your home, and also make it look so beautiful, like you wouldn't see 48 appliances in one small space. And it never, phases me when they come back with such incredible, amazing ideas in how to do that. So I definitely would encourage you to seek out a designer and see how they can bring your project to life and really navigate areas and bring ideas that I definitely don't think about, and I'm always so surprised when they bring them forward, and the end result is just so beautiful. So in terms of, collaboration and working with a designer or a builder, one of the things that has been so critical for us is making sure that they come to site before you reno, before you have the idea. Really check out things that you may not see as a homeowner. And then once demo has been done, maybe by your builder, having that designer come back, because again, they're going to see things that you might not see. For instance, I know that, again, we've got so much experience renovating kitchens, but I still get thrown off by, I didn't know that there was an electrical panel there, and now we have to potentially rejig the design of the appliance. Or, hey, there's a brick that's sticking out of the wall that nobody saw when the cabinets were hiding it, and so the dishwasher isn't going to fit there. These professionals are going to be able to look at it, quickly come up with a solution, whereas sometimes, us as a homeowner might be sitting there panicking about, what is that going to cost me? You see all those shows on HGTV where they've got like oh my goodness, there's been rats in the wall, or, oh my goodness, we now have to redo all the electrical. There's usually a solution and different options, and this is where they can come in and really bring their expertise so that your project can continue on and move forward to that beautiful kitchen, bathroom, or whole home renovation. So with those collaborations, we definitely want to help you at Trail. Our knowledge goes beyond the appliance side of things, and that's where we can step in with you, with your builder, with your designer, or again, if you're a do-it-yourselfer, to help avoid any of the things I've talked about earlier. So again, it's as easy and effortless and hopefully enjoyable for you as it can be. If you're looking for, people to connect with, you could definitely reach out to Haven. Us at Trail, we also have a community of mill workers, designers, and builders that we work with that we would be happily able to forward you their details, and then you interview them. It's like dating, you've got to get to know them and see if they're the right fit. One of the things to keep in mind if you are just doing a quick renovation or replacement of an item, I know most of us do a lot of research online. I think the stat from our marketing team was like 86% of people start their shopping journey online looking at all the things. Save yourself some time. Come into our stores and talk to our team. They really know the ins and outs, even if it's just a dishwasher, a microwave, or a full home. We can sit down with you, you can have a coffee, we can ask you a few questions and really get you set up in the right direction. So you can go back online, you can still do all the digging, but it's probably going to be a little bit more purposeful and it's going to save you some time. Thanks so much. I really hope that you have an amazing appliance journey with whatever renovation or single replacement appliance you might need. Definitely come and check us out at one of our 12 locations across BC. We would love to see you.